Hi, it's John of C Nation, and you're listening to the Kush Journals. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for an up-close and personal look at cannabis industry news and developments, the hottest stories of the day, legislative movement from around the country, and some good times each Friday as Zen, Julie, and I tackle fun and entertaining content from inside the cannabis culture. Hey, it's John with C Nation, and you are tuned in to the Kush Journals. It is Friday, January 12th, and that means it is High Times Friday. I'm here with Zen.
Yo.
And Julie.
Hello.
And we have something really fun lined up today. Ms. Chloe Harper Gold wrote an article for High Times on January 5th, 2018 called 10 Weed-Inspired New Year's Resolutions for Cannabis Lovers. And honestly, it's one of the best things we read. It was really fun, it was really thorough, it was thoughtful, and we have a lot of good ideas about this. But before we jump right into it, my lawyer has told me that we should acknowledge this is High Times content. Which it is, and we do all the time. No problem with that. It is their intellectual property, and we're just kind of cribbing it for our own devices. The other thing I want to mention, any brand name products that we mention in this, they're not sponsors, they're not advertisers, and we just want to make that clear. We're touting products that we've used, that we know of, that we'd like to try, that we've seen. We research this industry all the time, so trust me. We know a lot about a lot of products out there. Some we've used, some we haven't. But I just wanted to make it clear that any brand name, they're not sponsors, they're not advertisers, they're not financial contributors to this show. So I'm going to read what Chloe Harper Gold wrote to introduce this article, and then we'll just read each of the 10 bullet points and we'll go from there, because we have something to contribute in addition to what she wrote. We're not trying to reread her article. We'll link you to it and you can go read it. If you're someone who uses the phrase New Year, New Me every January 1st, you probably come up with a list of things you're going to do differently. The list might include things like getting more organized or stopping your nail-biting habit once and for all. But did you know that you can include cannabis in your New Year, New Me list? Here are some weed-inspired New Year's resolutions to get you motivated for 2018. Number 10. I'm trying to do this like David Letterman's top 10 list. Number 10. Try new accessories.
I'm always down to try new.
Right?
I'm
Me
always
too.
down.
There's so much great stuff out there.
And things that are being invented all the time for it.
That's true. We tried a bunch in 2017. There's a ton more out there that we haven't tried that we want to try. What are some things that have you excited for 2018?
Yeah, this new accessory that I came across was the Da Vinci IQ. It's a handheld vaporizer. It's amazing. I've tried it once and I'm saving money to get it, and it's the flavors that it gives you, and it doesn't burn. Like, putting a flame to the weed, or to the cannabis is not good. It's taking those terpenes out and all of that. And using this vaporizer, oh my gosh, the taste of it alone was amazing.
The taste is crazy, and that Da Vinci, we all got to try it at roughly the same time. It's pretty awesome. And I'm going to give a shout out right now to Mandy Lee and Nicole at Green Flower Media. They have a shopping show on YouTube and on their website that's just fantastic. We watched it. We've watched all of the episodes, in fact. Please make more, by the way. And this is the first place we saw the Da Vinci IQ. Shortly after that, we actually found ourselves in a position to be able to try it, and it was fantastic. Julie, I couldn't agree more. This is an excellent product for people to try in 2018. Good idea for bringing it up. And again, thanks Mandy Lee and Nicole at Green Flower Media. We might not know about this product if we had not tuned into your excellent show. In addition to being able to vape your cannabis product, what else?
The spices.
Yeah, the spice container that's in there. Your herb goes in one side and you can flip it over, and we've seen basil and thyme, all sorts of things, chamomile, all sorts of things that can go in there. There's obviously beneficial components to some of these other things. Terpenes exist in nature outside of cannabis, and other things do exist, beneficial things in these other herbs that are out there. Plus, now I haven't tried it yet, and I don't know if you have, Julie, with the some additional like kitchen spices, herbs.
I have, but I want to.
Yeah, it's supposed to not be an overwhelming flavor, just kind of a back taste of that, and I mean obviously some spices. Oregano's one of them. Thyme, very strong. You'd be hard pressed to miss that. That does look like a cool product, and as much as we've tried it, which has been hardly at all, we definitely want some. We want that to be something that's kind of in our regular 2018 rotation. So cool. That's a great new accessory.
So there's this other accessory that I want to talk about that I was doing some research on this new podcast that we're going to start doing. And it blew my mind. So in 2018, I want to start collecting glass pipes. I want to start collecting the bizarre ones that are out there, good art that people come up with. And this piece I can't get out of my mind for some reason, and it's driving me nuts.
Is it the $1 million pipe we saw on High Times?
No, but I would like to collect that one too.
Like, share the wealth.
That one was amazing.
Yeah, that one was.
So what are we talking about here?
It's the dildo pipe. The dildo pipe. And it's like a dildo and a pipe connected.
On the end of the pipe.
And it's so funny to me that someone would really use that. But if someone came up with that product, it was like, you take a hit and have some fun, and take a hit and have some fun. And I just kept laughing about it. And it's just something that I want to collect because I want those bizarre pipes out there that people, come up with in their mind with their art to be able to make.
We've seen some great art manifested in various smoking vessels, and to your point, that was a pretty cool looking product. It seems highly impractical. And you could get so stoned maybe you forget which end is going where. I guess I could see that happening.
Oh man.
Not a tragedy either way, but just one of those things. And I guess I won't bring up that skunky smell for any reason. This is a family show, but it's not really a family show. But 18 and older. Are you 18 or older? We should have a little click button to
Press
to launch
one.
our podcast. So you're going to try and collect some of the more unique one-off kind of smoking vessels.
Correct, yes.
That's awesome. And those are going to sit on a shelf. They're going to be more
Yes.
for display, for collection.
Correct.
So awesome. That is really pretty cool. Now, I saw a product, and granted, it's out of my wheelhouse because I don't cross-dress on the weekend or any other day of the week. But we saw, it was probably on YouTube. We watch a lot of cannabis-related content on YouTube, and there's a tremendous amount out there, and it's excellent. There's a product called the Endeavor, and I hope I'm saying that right. It's INDV. All capital letters. It looks like Endeavor to me, but this is a company that has created vape products. They use the standard 510 thread oil cartridges that you see on so many like pen type cartridge delivery systems, but they look like lipstick cases. They look like mascara cases. I saw one that looked like a really high-end like ballpoint pen. I mean like a Mont Blanc pen or something that you might go spend a few $100s for. We looked at all their products. There's only 4 of them right now. They range from about $60 to $80, super reasonably priced. And they look great for any woman who's looking to really kind of stealthily accessorize. You could throw one of these in your handbag or pocketbook or anything and no one would think twice about it. You walk right into a concert. It wouldn't matter where. Right into church on Sunday. It doesn't matter. It looks like mascara or lipstick, etc. That brings up one thing. We've had conversations about lifestyle marketing in the cannabis industry. There's a zillion products out there for anybody that just wants to go grab something off the shelf, but you might be the kind of person who wants to keep that a little under the radar and a little on the QT. And the primary marketplace for that, because most guys don't care, the primary target market for that is suburban moms. And we've seen some movement in the cannabis industry directly lifestyle marketing to suburban moms. The price can be a little elevated. The product can be a little upscale. It has to fit their lifestyle, which means it has to be a nice handbag. It has to be this good looking faux makeup, for lack of a better word. One of those bags is made by Anabee, and we have a little familiarity with a couple of those bags. Santa brought some at Christmas time, a couple of different Anabee bags, a kind of a little clutch that you could throw in a bigger bag and an actual bigger bag. They're awesome. They're made with smell-proof technology.
Amazing.
They are. They
have tons of room, tons of pockets.
They do. They've got hidden compartments. They've got areas that will make products like this stand up. Just little straps or something that you can stuff them in. So products like mascara.
Yep, they've got pockets that are smell-proof.
Yeah, they're great. And, as a result of some of this product, we've really started to look into, this lifestyle marketing. And we found jewelry companies and we've purchased some of their things. There's definitely a movement in the industry to be an accessory to the industry, an ancillary service. There's enough product and product marketing out there that now companies like we've just talked about can jump in there and make really classy products and make really excellent products that no one's going to look at, no one's going to think twice about.
Super stealthy.
Yeah, and they're definitely going to fit the lifestyle of someone looking for, products they'd be caught dead with, but also cannabis on the inside. So let's move on to number 9. Number 9. Incorporate weed into your relationships.
Hey, like using that pipe from number 10.
Yeah, the dildo pipe.
Had to incorporate smoking right into that. All right, sorry.
It is really incorporated.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have some input on this one. I would have to say that I would have to date someone that enjoys cannabis like me. It's my very first relationship. I used to be against it, like we've discussed in prior podcast, and he lied to me about it. And I asked him to stop doing it. He said that he would. Well, it didn't happen like that, and it was a disaster. Well, I think that when you're in a relationship, you actually need to find someone that does the exact same thing with you.
Yeah, you gotta be on the same page.
It. I can't date someone that's like, yeah, I've done it prior too. I don't do it anymore. I actually have to date someone that actually enjoys the cannabis like me. Yeah,
and it's one thing for your partner to be okay and utterly cool with it, but you're still lacking that participation.
Yeah, tolerance isn't the same as togetherness.
It's not, and I agree.
It's weird to smoke by yourself when someone's next to you.
It's pretty strange. No, it is, and I think it's a really important element. Not cannabis per se, but just that being on the same
sharing.
Sheet of music. We see couples all the time. We can tell that they're out wine tasting together, or that it is. It's super important. Because there's so much coolness about cannabis. Why wouldn't you want that to share with your partner and with them with you? There's so much to enjoy and talk about and see and discover, and I'm in 100% agreement with you. And, that's a more traditional look at relationships. I don't know if we've ever divulged that Zen and I are married, but we are. And we've happily been together since 2005. And it plays a pretty sizable role in our relationship. We're glad that we can share it back and forth. And that we can, even not just the cannabis, but cannabis related, etc. I mentioned earlier, we watch a fair amount of cannabis content on YouTube together. Mostly that's for research purposes, but we enjoy it together. And hey, stop there, let's watch this one. 100%. But I've got other relationships, and I'm sure that we all do, that we would love to be able to incorporate weed into that relationship. And, I think about family members, etc., that maybe have some health issues. Indeed, that all right, do I want to see any of my older family members, inebriated on THC? Probably not. But that's not the only part of cannabis. CBD is awesome, and we know.
And it does wonderful things.
It does, and I would love to see some of those relationships of mine finally get on board with the reality of CBD, the reality of non-psychoactive CBD as medicine, as a sleep aid, as a symptom reliever, as whatever. So I agree. This is a great New Year's resolution for 2018 because I think we all agree with this at this table. The time has come.
Yeah.
It's always, it's 2018, get on the bandwagon. Well, you could say that for every year about something, but just 4 or 5 or 6 years ago, the only real bandwagon was still pretty much tightly contained in the industry. Well, we know nationally now that's just not the case. We know that nationwide there's a 95% approval rating for medicinal cannabis to be legal coast to coast. We know there's 65% support, including 51% from Republicans, first time ever they've been in the majority, to legalize cannabis for adult use. So this has become a consensus issue in this country. I think it's awesome to incorporate weed into your relationships in 2018. The time has come. It makes sense. There's so many different ways to ingest it, to deliver it, to partake in it, that I think we can collectively find that common ground in all of our relationships. Yep. Number 8, discover your new favorite strain.
I'm always willing to try new ones, but I already have a favorite.
What is it?
I have to say it's Frankenstein.
Frankenstein? I don't know if I'm familiar with Frankenstein. What makes it awesome for you?
It's relaxing.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like I'm sunk in the couch.
Is that what effect you're looking for typically when you enjoy cannabis? Is that relaxed, or do you like to more energetic, or
well, it
time
really
and place?
Depends.
Yeah.
So with Frankenstein, obviously I know it's gonna make me like a Frankenstein, so I want to make sure that I'm relaxed.
It's aptly named.
Yeah, exactly. It's named like pineapple. So I tried Pineapple Express. That's another one of my favorites,
right.
And that's more energetic. Frankenstein, not so much. So I would have to say, giving me more of an uppy would be Pineapple Express if I want to get down and just want to relax, and Frankenstein. But I'm always willing to try new strains all the time.
Sure. Well, when we discovered this article and when we read through it and decided we really wanted to podcast it, I gotta say this was probably roughly my favorite of the 10. And I was initially thinking, gosh, how am I going to do all 10 of these things? Well, that's not really the purpose of a resolution, I suppose. If we were going to incorporate all 10 of these things, we might fail at half of them. And I think that's roughly why people, just abandon their New Year's resolutions.
Because they have too many?
Well, either too many, which I think is really the killer, and it's not practical. We're not really great at too many things simultaneously, or too aggressive. The stop smoking. I'm sympathetic to people that smoke cigarettes. It's a very challenging, it's a very
really
hard habit to break. And that is a tough New Year's resolution. I'd make that like my May 3rd resolution or something, less stress from the holidays, all that stuff. But I gotta tell you, discover a new favorite strain. I might make
Mission accepted.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel about this. Cause
let's go to Vegas.
I'm the kid in the candy shop. Every time I step into a dispensary, there is something inside me, and I know this will sound corny, I don't really care, that says like welcome home or something like that. I love dispensaries. I like being inside them. If I didn't think security would hustle me out after loitering for 8 hours, I'd probably just go find one and stay all day. I really like that. And we live in an area that is not particularly friendly to cannabis. We don't have the luxury of dispensaries and all those things here.
So it's still kind of a novelty.
It is. We take the opportunity to travel when we can. Las Vegas isn't that far away. Fort Collins, Colorado is not that far away. We like these things. We like to take long weekends so that we can go and be a part of this. But I've told both Zen and Julie and anybody else, frankly, that would listen to me, that if I lived in a dispensary city, a recreational place like Las Vegas, I might be roughly a gram a day buyer. I might just find something interesting on, a Weed Maps menu or something.
What haven't I tried yet?
Yeah, and just go get it. That might be, now it sounds stupid. A gram a day, that's actually a little bit more cannabis than I
don't smoke
go
a gram
through.
a day.
But that's hardly the point, that I couldn't finish a gram a day. It just excites me. And I've smoked a lot of cannabis, but I got to tell you, it's a fraction of what's out there. Now, sometimes I get a little sketchy about all these different strain names, because really, is it just this and you're telling me it's that, so it's become a big marketing game? Honestly, I don't know, and I'm hopeful that one of my Wednesday episodes here coming up, when I do some interviews, I can get a grower on here, because I really want to ask. When I was a kid and growing up, teenager, etc., it seems like we had like Colombian Gold and Panama Red, and man, that might have been it.
Wow.
And then as got older and older and older, you've discovered a few more strains, but it still seemed like there was just a handful. But now,
And then
it feels like there's hundreds, and maybe it feels like there's thousands of. I don't know if that's possible or not, but again, neither here nor there. I am a big fan of discover your new strain, and I'm going to tell you what, you're going to discover new flavors that you didn't know existed. You're going to discover new sensations that you didn't know exist. I mean, you can find cannabis in dispensaries now that range from, pure CBD, no THC, to staggering amounts of THC that are really going to tickle those CB1 and CB2 receptors inside your body. I mean, we look at some of these products like Moon Rocks. Moon Rocks runs like 50% THC. It's a nice top shelf nug that they roll in oil and then roll in keef, and it winds up becoming this disgusting, greasy kind of thing when it's all said and done. But holy cow, let me tell you what. Anyway, new experiences, new flavors, even new medicinal purposes. If you are really committed to finding a new favorite strain, that means you're committed to trying, a lot until you get there. You could find some real beneficial product out there for you right now that might just blow your mind in ways you never knew was possible. So,
with everything that you're discussing, something just popped into my mind.
Okay.
With how much strains you were saying, thousands out there. Well, remember, we can always go to Kush Journal and input our information in, so that you can relook at the information that you have used.
It's
in case you
true.
forgot you tried one.
Yeah,
there
exactly.
That's an excellent talking commercial there for one of our other endeavors in this industry, and that is kushjournal.com. So we've devised and come up with a plan. Kush Journals is still in development right now, because it's pretty sophisticated and pretty complex when it's all said and done. But this will be a website where people will be able to actually log their cannabis use and consumption. And I mean really log it. You'll be able to take the lab testing data that comes with any of your product that shows you all the percentages of whatever is in that product, all the THC, well, that's a cannabinoid, all the cannabinoids, all of the terpenoids, and you can log it by percentage, and you can then...
So all of that stuff is going to be on the label from the dispensary.
Yeah, exactly, and you can list your purpose for using that product,
time of day,
how you method, exactly, and whether or not it achieved your results. And we think that people should not hesitate to say, no, this didn't. Yeah, I was high, but I was looking for something specific. Because
we've had strains we don't like, and you know what? It would have helped to have Kush Journal to put everything in.
Over time, you wind up developing a very useful snapshot of your cannabis use and the reasons for using that. And sooner than later, you're going to be able to remove those things that definitely didn't work.
Yep, you're going to be able to narrow down what really does.
And you are. And at that point, you're going to be able to talk frankly with a bud tender, with maybe, people at extraction companies or whatever. You are going to be able to just hone in and zero in on that product or products that meet your specific needs, time of day, whatever the need is. So Jules, that's awesome. Kush Journals is definitely the place to log and track your cannabis use. And it really will be the only way for you to discover your new favorite strain in 2018. Number 7, try CBD products. I'm going to tell you both.
THC is not everything.
I meant both of our listeners. No. Everyone. I am down with try CBD products in 2018. I'm going to share something with you that is a stone cold fact. Sorry about the pun. Sorry about it? I'm not even high. Sorry about the pun. Anyway, I attended the Marijuana Business Daily Convention, Cannabis Convention in Las Vegas in November, about a week long in November. It was a terrific convention. We had some specific reasons why we were there, and it wound up being fantastic. In fact, I'm just going to say right now, thank you, MJ Biz Daily, for that convention. It was fantastic. We cannot wait to go back next year. Anyway, I ran into a couple of guys from New Zealand there, and we got yakking. You know, we sat through a science symposium together, and I thought it was totally fascinating that a couple of guys had come halfway around the world to be at this convention. But they're leading the cannabis innovation and legislation efforts in New Zealand. So they were there for a specific purpose. But, we got yakking as people will do when they sit next to each other for an 8-hour seminar. And I discovered that they had the same problem that I have when I travel. And generally it's this. It's not my bed. It's not my pillow. I can't sleep very well. Even if it's really great bedding. I just can't sleep very well. Well, they had the same problem, and jet lag. They had jet lag, obviously, but they told me that they went down to a specific dispensary in Las Vegas that was very close to the convention center there. And it's one that we've actually shopped at and we really like. I'm just going to mention them by name because I think they're fantastic. They're called Las Vegas Relief. And they're down around Paradise and Sahara in a strip mall there. They're really excellent. A fantastic place. Anyway, they told me they went in and they were talking to the bud tender about, gosh, we're just trying to sleep. We don't really want to take a THC product, we're just trying to manage this and see if we can fall asleep. And anyway, they wound up with basically a CBD air vape pen that was for relaxation purposes. About 47% CBD blended with lavender. Wow. Lavender is very relaxing. It's aromatherapy type relaxing, etc. So I thought, man, this is nice. In addition, for me just being so excited to be at that convention, again, I just don't sleep very well in these hotel room beds and whatnot. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to hop on the monorail. It's just 2 stops down from the convention center. I'm going to go to Las Vegas Relief, and I'm going to get this very same thing. Well, I did. $40 or so, whatever. Pure CBD, an airdrop pen. It's drop dead sooner than later. There's no way to tell how much juice is in it, but neither here nor there. I followed the directions. It said 6-second puff, something like just chill, just relax. I'm going to tell you what. I woke up sometime the next morning wow. I don't know what.
You weren't sleeping in a hotel bed.
I slept well. I felt relaxed. And it was fantastic. So, we've talked about in some of our other podcasts being able to mitigate too much THC. I'm too high. That CBD works for that. CBD works for a lot of things. And as a relaxation ingestion method, that CBD pen, that particular CBD air pen that I bought, has remained a fantastic product for me. It's an easy way to relax. It is pure CBD. There's not a trace of anything in it except for the lavender. So that's awesome. I actually encourage everybody to try CBD products, and I'm not talking about the ones that you can walk into your local pet store or something to buy. I'm talking about medicinal or adult use dispensary product derived from the right plants by the right people, none of this industrial hemp. At any rate, get it from a dispensary, get the right product. I think you're going to be really surprised at what CBD might do for you. Number 6, perfect your joint rolling skills.
Not so much for me.
This subject brought great hilarity when we did the 9 stoner rites of passage, because one of the items in there
Learning
was
how to roll a joint.
gone through a forest of paper, trying to learn how to roll that perfect joint, and we all agreed here that none of us can roll that perfect joint. Now, I like smoking a joint more than Zen and Julie do.
Nah, not so much.
It's roughly how I came up on cannabis. It's just kind of set in concrete. Granted, there are really, truly great ways to ingest cannabis these days, but it ranks right up there for me. I like it a lot.
I got a little roller thingy that I use, so I don't have to do all the work.
I gotta tell you, though, I perfect your joint rolling skills. All right, this is a New Year's resolution that I'm going to pass on. And just because I just don't feel compelled to do it. I can buy pre-rolls. I can buy pre-rolled cones and stuff it with my own ground cannabis. I can buy roller machines, and I can buy 8 million other types of products that don't involve rolling papers. I think it's cool to be able to roll a joint in a pinch. I can roll one. I'm not too worried about it. But you don't see a lot of people saying, hey, let's roll that up right quickly.
Yeah.
We got too many other things now, and oils are becoming the greatest thing, and all these various extracts, dabs, and shatters, and waxes. They've really taken the place of rolling a joint, and honestly, almost anybody I see doing that anymore, they're actually rolling a cigarette. They're rolling their shredded tobacco. You don't see it too much anymore. I'm not going to say it's going to become one of those novelties from the past kind of thing. You'll still always be able to buy rolling paper and a grinder and be able to, smoke a joint if that's what you want to do. I'm just simply saying, like the horse and buggy, it will have less relevance in the marketplace.
Yeah. Definitely.
So they'll still always be there. But
they have them rolled perfectly right at the dispensary for
yeah,
you to
they
buy.
do. But I'm 100% down with, if you want to perfect your joint rolling skills in 2018. Boy, you got every opportunity in the world. Yep. There's just every bit of paper and cannabis and whatnot to be able to do it. So knock yourselves out.
Have fun.
Number 5, incorporate weed into your workouts.
Yes.
I got to incorporate workouts into my workout first. Or does lifting a gram at a time count?
No.
Probably not, does it? What do you think about this?
Definitely. It helped you focus.
Does it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it depends on the strain.
Okay.
If it's too much of THC, it might just knock you on the couch, and then you're just like, well, I could do it tomorrow. So
true.
I would have to say that you would have to find the strain that gives you the more
energetic one.
A little more sativa, probably. Yeah. So I'm going to be quite honest with you, and it just might be my body. It might be the way I partake. I don't really know, but I find no difference between a sativa and an indica. Sativas are supposed to be uplifting and euphoric and energetic, and indicas are supposed to roughly be the opposite of that. Couch lock, more relaxing, nighttime, daytime versus nighttime, sativa versus indica. I'm going to tell you what, THC hits my body the same way every time. I don't want to do a damn thing. And I'm actually envious of people who have either convinced themselves that sativas are that way, or that they are that way for those people. I've found no difference. I can't imagine working out to begin with. Boo. But
okay, go for a hike.
Ingesting cannabis before working out, because
partake another way.
Help you relax afterwards.
It's going to put me to sleep during. I'm going to be unmotivated. Yeah. I don't like to be out of my house when I'm intoxicated on THC. I'm certainly not going to drive to the gym to work out. Now, granted, nobody has to go anywhere to work out per se. I mean, maybe in your house you've got enough of this. I don't really know. I mean, you can go lift 50-pound bags of flour in your pantry, you know, if you want to do these things. We don't necessarily have to leave the house, but I'm one of these people who does not like to leave the house when I've partaken of cannabis. I don't like to be in public. I don't like to be around other people. I feel like I'm goofy and stupid and might just say dumb things. I'm already goofy and stupid enough in real life. No influence of cannabis. But I know Zen particularly, you get really energetic and you can go on long hikes and blah, blah, blah.
Clean the house.
Do you think this has merit, this incorporate weed into your workout?
Yeah, it really
both
does.
of you?
Definitely.
I say I like to work out while I'm high. I just got to pull it out there.
Now we ran across another article, and granted, this is High Times. I'll even cite the article. We're just looking at it. We're not really doing anything about it. But 10 best strains to improve your workout, and I found one that is relatively intriguing to me. And I mean, like I said, granted, I've got to put workouts in my workout first before I could put cannabis into my workouts. But there's a strain called Harlequin, and it's popular. You can find Harlequin in a lot of dispensaries in a lot of states. It's super popular. It's a sativa-dominant hybrid, and it seems to be roughly 5-to-2 ratio CBD to THC. Now that's intriguing to me. A lot less THC in there, a lot more CBD, which could, I suppose, lead to more energy and lead to less of that stoned feeling. That's something I might be willing to give a try. I'm never going to a gym, sorry, but I do walk a lot by habit, by nature.
That could tie into number 8, discover your new favorite strain. I'd love to try this one.
Yeah, I think I do want to try some of this Harlequin. But so both of you agree, absolutely incorporate cannabis into your workout. You might be really surprised with the results. Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So, all right, interesting enough. I'll take you out. That will not be one of my New Year's resolutions. I do know that working out and getting healthy, these are big New Year's resolutions that seem to fail a lot because, well, they're a lot like work.
Well, would you incorporate CBD into your workout?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why we brought up the Harlequin. I probably will. And I agree 100% when we talk about cannabis in general and in full terms now, we talk about cannabis in its entirety. That could be no THC cannabis for sure. And we see those strains out there that you can readily grind and put in a water pipe and smoke, and there's no THC in them. So that is a fair point that I could include a CBD only or CBD rich cannabis strain into my workout. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna do it, but I'm gonna think about it. I'm not an utterly unhealthy person. And I view my daily walking as roughly all the workout I'm going to do. But we might give this a try if we have a chance to snatch up some Harlequin and see what we can do about that. Number 4. Everybody's least favorite. Take a tolerance break.
What?
I'd say yeah, but nah. Yeah, but nah.
Yeah, but nah.
My inner child screaming, no, don't take a break. But me adulting, you know what? It'd be pretty awesome to take a tolerance break from smoking. And if I did live in a different state, then yes, I would be doing edibles and other ways instead of smoking.
Yeah. But I think it's saying take a tolerance break from
THC.
all methods of consuming. And, this is a pretty standard New Year's type resolution. I'm going to quit this, that, or the other. I'm going to stop sugar. I'm going to not eat carbs for a month. Those are tolerance breaks of sorts. So, it does make sense that people might make a New Year's resolution for taking a tolerance break from cannabis. I mean, if you're the kind of person who sets flame to your raw material every day, maybe your throat's a little raw. Maybe you'd like to just say, yeah, I'm cool. It's a tough time of year. We've got temperature inversion. I've got too much pollution around my state. I don't need to be compounding the issues here. Obviously, flame to raw material here. We have concerns about carcinogens, which can cause cancer. So, I understand why some people may say, yeah, I'm down for a break. It's taking me a little bit more cannabis to get me to where I want to be, which is hitting me in my pocketbook or hitting me in my lungs, my throat, my etc. Just, who knows the reason, just to take a break, period. Go on a cleanse, do whatever. I understand, I suppose, the logic of this. And I have to say, I'm a person who can and has gone on very long stretches of zero cannabis consumption. How long you been off? Oh, a couple of weeks. How long you been off? Oh, 8 months. Just the time just flew. And I've literally been a guy who's been 8, 10, 12 months with no cannabis just because I didn't feel like consuming any. I'll tell you what, when I've jumped back in, holy cow. Boy, it didn't take me very much. I mean, it just didn't. Now, that's a bit of a testament to, the new products in this day and age, which seem to have a staggering amount of THC in them. But also, it was really roughly new back into my system. And I perfectly knew what to do. I hadn't forgot how to consume. It's as easy as falling off a bike, but... That's all good. That's just dumb. But yeah, I guess I understand this. And if you are a person who wants to take a tolerance break, man, knock yourself out. There's no downside. There just isn't. Save a little money this month, save a little lungs this month, whatever. It's all good. So we're maybe in a little bit of a disagreement on this, but guess what? You don't have to choose every one of these things to try and tackle as a New Year's resolution.
Maybe 2019.
yeah, maybe next year. We're going to tolerate procrastination this year. We'll maybe think about a tolerance break next year. Number 3, learn how to cook with cannabis.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Well, there you have it. You know what?
That's it. Next.
So personally, eating cannabis is my favorite way to ingest the product. I like edibles. I like the potential of edibles. I like the creativity that I see in this. I've subscribed to some edibles magazines that I'm going to tell you early on, and I'm talking like back in 2008, 9, 10, around there. There were some things going on with top chefs around the world in cannabis that was blowing my mind. And all of that stuff is super fascinating to me. I would encourage anybody to figure out how to cook with cannabis.
Making butter is easy, and you can use butter in a recipe that contains butter.
It is. You can use butter, you can use oils, coconut oils, olive oils, you can use heavy cream. There's all sorts of fats out there that will extract the THC from you. And as we mentioned in another podcast, we've seen some of these edibles being made, and it's just mind-blowing that, wait, don't you have to extract the fat first and then you use the oil, or don't you have to use the fat first to extract it and then blah, blah, blah. We saw a person one time just take their raw cannabis, they ground it up, and they threw it into, I don't know, a bunch of ground up like Italian sausage, or I don't know, it was for meatballs. It was eventually for a meatball sandwich. And I was pretty skeptical. I realized that meat like that has fat in it, but there's no way this is going to work, right? Wrong. I was blown away that the method even worked, but then once we had a meatball sandwich out of the thing, and I'm talking ooey gooey, a meatball sandwich, 2 or 3 meatballs, the marinara sauce, some of that gooey mozzarella cheese melted on. It was fantastic. With or without the cannabis, it was fantastic. But with it, I'm going to tell you what, a couple of hours later, I was struggling for my name, I think. It was real. We've seen some fantastic products. We've seen some great methods in the kitchen. 100%. This is a great New Year's resolution.
Definitely learn how to cook with cannabis this year.
If we lived in a different state, I think we'd aggressively do this. I think we'd buy a cookbook. I think we might do it from cover to cover. In fact, I think a cookbook podcast would be fantastic, like a YouTube video thing. What was that movie Amy Adams was in that was about Julia Child? I don't quite remember the name of it, but she literally sat down or made it her goal to cook. I think Julia Child cookbook is called The Joy of Cooking. Literally, from the first recipe to the last recipe, that was this person's goal. They were going to cook every last recipe in that cookbook, and some were super challenging. I think it would be an awesome YouTube video series to find one of these really comprehensive cookbooks in the industry and just say, yep, we're going to cook every one of these things in this cookbook, and we'll tell you all about it. So, yeah, those of you that are in states where you can do this, you might find this to be an awesome endeavor, particularly if you already know how to cook and you kind of have a handle on how you might be able to incorporate these things. Word of caution, and go easy.
Oh yeah. See, if I lived in those states, I'd be doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner all cannabis.
Yeah, a lot of cannabis by volume can reduce down to a little bit of butter, but all that THC is still in there. So tread lightly, find your footing, find some, you can buy cannabis now in these dispensaries that super cheap, $100 an ounce, $80 an ounce, $60 an ounce. It's all ground up or it's shake. It's got low THC content, 8%, 9%. Those are great to start learning how to cook with. They're cheap to procure. They don't have a ton of THC in it that's going to, maybe make you pass out or something because you use too much. These are great cannabises to start learning to cook with.
And also remember, when you're learning to cook with cannabis, wait for the effects of the cannabis before you eat 6 of whatever you made.
If you haven't listened to our 9 Stoner Rights or our 10 Commandments of marijuana edible safety, then you'll know what Zen's talking about.
So, can you buy cannabis butter at dispensaries?
Definitely.
Instead of cooking it? Oh,
yeah, no, definitely. Now, I've seen butter, I've seen olive oil, I've probably seen some other types of oil. Olive oil doesn't have a heavy fat content, but it's great for cooking. I've seen the coconut oils, I've seen some other oils, but not everywhere. It seems to be a little hit or miss to be able to buy that can of butter, can of oil, or whatever, but definitely, it is readily available. Maybe not at every dispensary, but at some dispensaries in your area, you can definitely buy that. And I'm going to tell you, that is a nice place to start if you want to cook butter, because whatever went into that extraction method and whatnot, that's a new thing to learn, to have to get there. And maybe you'd rather really just start with the finished product, with the can of butter into something. I've seen them not too expensive, maybe $60 for a cup or so of butter. Not too bad.
And a cup goes a long way.
Yeah, it does. And the other thing is, it's great if your recipe calls for, let's just say, half a cup of butter. You can use a quarter cup of the can of butter and a quarter cup of uninfused, just regular butter to make your half cup. You can really stretch it
then you
a
won't
long
knock
way.
yourself
You're
on the
right.
floor.
You can find your footing on edibles and cooking with edibles. I've even seen THC infused honey.
Wow.
At dispensaries now, and I got to tell you, I've never had some. Boy, do I want some.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of peanut butter and honey sandwiches. I ain't even fooling. And I would like to try some infused honey for sure. So yeah, definitely you can buy that at dispensaries. It's a great way to start learning how to cook. Good thought, Jules. Thanks.
Or you can totally take it the other direction and go with number 2. Grow some ganja.
Yep, that is number 2 on this list. Grow some ganja.
If you live in a legal state.
Yeah, we never encourage anybody to break any laws, and I guess with as crazy as our Attorney General Jeff Sessions has gotten lately, maybe you don't want to for a minute. But, you live in any of these medicinal states or any of these adult use states, I'm telling you, they are very generous with how many plants you can grow at home. And 6 plants, man.
The yield from 6 plants.
Yeah, it will be decent. Now, is growing cannabis easy? The pros are going to say yes, but, they had a learning curve. But this industry has matured so much. There are some methods out there, and I don't know specifically the product names, etc., but there are these grow cabinets, grow wardrobes, grow tents, It's really becoming pretty straightforward. Some of these setups, and I know they're not cheap, but some of these setups really automate everything. You start with a clone that you bought from your dispensary, and you put it in these cabinets that are perfectly lighted for it. They've got all these reservoirs for all the different nutrients and water. They do the water changes for you. They do all of that stuff. I think this is a worthwhile endeavor, and honestly, it's no different than I'm going to start a garden this year with corn or with peas or with, you know what, growing roughly.
Yep.
Granted, over time, can you learn a better method to grow those snap peas or pole beans? Sure. Does it give you a little better product when it's all said and done? Absolutely. But even just planting and growing and weeding and watering, you're going to wind up with a pretty good product regardless. So this is a really great skill to have. Just fun. Gardening is fun. Gardening is relaxing. It's stress relieving. And your first successful product, I don't care if it's an ear of corn or a bud of your favorite cannabis, you are going to be duly impressed with yourself. And you're probably going to say, that was easy.
Yeah.
I'm never buying another $60 eighth in my life because I can grow 6 plants at a time, 6 different strains, 6 different whatevers. It's a skill you can really hone, and suddenly you're making your own specific medicine, and then you're learning things like creating clones and cuttings and all these things. Anyway, I think it is a really great New Year's resolution. And again, if we lived in a different state,
Oh, yeah.
we'd probably try this. We would probably really give this one a shot. Those of you that do, let us know. Let us know how it worked out for you, particularly anybody that's never done this before, and you decide you're going to jump into us. A few months down the road, man, let us know how it worked out for you. We would be keenly interested in your results. And finally, number 1, be more politically involved. Man, I couldn't agree more with this. The time is right.
Yep, step up finally.
Definitely.
You know, we mentioned earlier how this has become a consensus issue across the nation. There's just so much voter support for this. Super majorities of voters, 95% on medicinal, 65%, 64% on legalization for adult use. This has happened because cannabis activists have gotten politically involved. They've gotten politically involved in their neighborhoods, in their cities, at their state houses. People who use cannabis for medicinal purposes have gone in front of their state legislatures to say, look, I'm living proof of this. Man, if you have to watch any more than Dr. Sanjay Gupta's weed program, where we saw Charlotte take some CBD for the very first time and her seizure stopped. Let me tell you what, if you have to watch more than that to convince yourself of the medical efficacy of cannabis, then you're just never going to get the point. Yep. This stuff is the real deal. I'm excited for 2018. I mean, our Attorney General has just made a stupid move, but neither here nor there.
And this is why we need more people like us to be more politically active.
The states have not been deterred by his recent announcement that he's turning back the clock on some of these protections. U.S. attorneys around the country have assured their various, the governors and state representatives that, look, it's business as usual. We're still focused on the drug smugglers and the people taking this stuff out of state. There is no better time than 2018 to become politically active, and I'm going to tell you why. There are 12 states currently in this calendar year tackling the issue of cannabis legalization. I'm going to go on record right now to say that all 12 will make a positive move on cannabis. And that's saying something, because in 2016 we had 5 states that tackled legalization. 4 of the 5 voted affirmatively for cannabis legalization. Only Arizona voted against it, and it was a very narrow loss in Arizona. But 12 states, given the high approval ratings of cannabis legalization around the country now, given the great big deal that's been made recently of what Jeff Sessions has tried to do in this nation. It has motivated people. It has activated people who have said, oh no, we are not winding back the clock on this thing. We're not undoing all the hard work that we've done. And hard work it has been. These people have worked super hard, whether it's Colorado in 2012 or whether it's California. These are years in the making. People have worked really hard. People whose names you don't know have worked super hard for decades to make this happen in this country. And all that groundwork has really paved the way for something that should be much easier to accomplish in 2018. And I think as a nation, we can get it done all 12 states. We even just saw Vermont last week. They're doing this legislatively. Support is so high in their state, they don't even need to wait for a voter ballot initiative. Their House passed it last week. Their Senate's expected to pass it this week. And their Republican governor, by the way, will sign it into law. They're going to legalize cannabis for all uses through their legislature. It's really great. So we have that opportunity in Utah this year. I mean, we've got medical on as a ballot initiative. They're still gathering signatures, doing very well on that. I don't think there'll be any issues with gathering the requisite number of signatures by the expiration date of April 15th. It is a consensus issue in Utah. We're roughly 74-75% in favor of medical cannabis legalization in this state. Our legislature, which will convene shortly for their 6-week session, they could do the right thing. They could simply take the language of that ballot initiative, turn it into law, vote on it. Our governor will sign it if that happens. It remains to be seen whether they'll do that or not. They seem to hold us, their constituents, in a great deal of contempt for some reason over this issue. And it wouldn't surprise me in the least if they don't take up cannabis in any way, shape, or form this year. But they have the opportunity to do the right thing, just like just like Vermont did. I must be thinking of white cheddar cheese for some reason. Vermont and Wisconsin both do very well. But Vermont, their state house is just handling that. But all of that aside, do be more politically active in 2018. You will see the fruits of your labor for sure. This is the year that is probably the entire tipping point for the nation. 12 more states go. That's a total
the rest are not going to be far behind.
42, they're not. Anyway, be more politically active.
Stand up, speak up.
Indeed. We want to thank High Times for the content of this podcast. It's a great article. It was tons of fun. We'll link you to it. Please go find it. It's a terrific article. You'll be able to read, all of the words that Chloe Harper Gold wrote. We didn't read them. We basically hit the intent of each of these items, though, and we're super happy to do this podcast today. We also want to, just thank the companies that we mentioned here. They're not sponsors. They're not advertisers. They're not financially participating in this podcast in any way, shape, or form, but they're either products that we've used or they're products that we want to use. And we're going to encourage everybody to go find all of those products this year. Join us next Friday for another awesome installment of High Times Friday. Thanks, Zen. Thanks, Jules, for joining me today.
Bye-bye, guys.